Hello friends, I'm just gonna make some videos to sort of explain how this works, what it looks like, how to navigate, things to look at. I'm gonna break them up into some different like styles of video as far as making some broad individual things. So this first video is going to be more of a broad example of what we're looking at. So I very quickly drew up this character. So we're going to look at a few things. So first thing, obviously we have the name up here with everything here. If there's anything you need to fix with your character, I think you need to go back and change something, you would go over to manage character levels, get that there. You should have some fun things to look at for change appearance, to get different pictures and stuff for yourself. But as far as mechanics go, we have our ability score modifiers here. I'm gonna make another video sort of explaining the how play works, just to get that sorted for those that don't know. But here you pretty much have your strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, and charisma. Anytime you roll, I ask you to do anything, the numbers are gonna pull from here. The nice thing about D&D Beyond is it does a lot of the math for you as far as adding stuff up. Speaking of, so we have these abilities, we have our skills down here. I would be asking more so for rolls from here. So it'd be like if you're going to try to talk to an animal, I'd be like, okay, go ahead, give me an animal handling check. And then you would roll the d20, add 8, and that would be your answer. Or saving throws, if you're in danger or something's up, I'll ask you to roll a saving throw. Those numbers will be over here. Here we have our passives. These are things where if I'm saying, like I'm rolling behind the screen, someone's trying to sneak past you without outwardly asking you guys to roll. If they roll less than a 13 for this character, I would just say that you notice something. Here we have our proficiencies, the stuff they're good at. Again, all of this math is set in, and so it takes into account if you're proficient with something, it'll add the proper math to this. Let's see, we have our health stuff over here. You see you have your current HP and max. If I get hit for like 32 damage, it's going to do that automatically. And then if I get healed, someone picks me up for 32, I heal. And then we have our temp HP. Temp HP is something that some abilities could grant you. Quick rule on that is temp HP doesn't stack. So if you get like, someone gives you a boost, it's like, oh, here's 12 temp HP. You can put that in, and there's 12. And then somebody else comes along and is like, oh, I want to give you 6 temp HP. You can't then have 18. You could either drop the 12 to get the 6, or just keep the 12. So that's there. When you are going in for a short rest, like I mentioned, we won't be doing a long rest this campaign. If you go for a short rest, you would just click here. The hit dice that you have a pool of dice that you could spend at any short rest. You could spend any amount that you want. You would roll those, and then put them in. I think this could do it. Yeah, so you could have it do it automatically, where it will roll for you, and they get that in there. In a regular campaign, these would be reset during a long rest. Next, we have this area here. We have the proficiency bonus, which is what's added to these numbers here. So this number is a culmination of whatever your wisdom modifier is. So this is the score. You have your modifier up here, and then the proficiency bonus you have here. You have your speed. Most people's speed is at base is 30 feet. There is some characters that might have it more than that. Typically what that means is on a map there's different squares. Each square represents 5 feet, so I can move 6 squares in a turn. My initiative, when we're going to combat, I would say roll initiative. You'd roll the d20, then add this number. This number is displayed by your dexterity modifier usually. There might be some other things from feats that will allow you to add your proficiency bonus to it to make your initiative much higher. Here we have our armor class, which is how difficult it is to hit somebody. I did not get my stuff set. Alright, so Depending on the armor, it'll just do the math for you. If it's medium, so medium armor and light armor, it's just adding your dex to it. The heavier armors, it's just at base what it is, but you have to have the strength to be able to don it, unless you have certain feats or things that help with that. That being said, let's see. We have our, we'll go to this table here. Well, defenses, so this character is resistant to poison, and then if you have an active condition, say a monk comes up to me and wraps me up, now grappled, just to remind me of what I am. To take some of the mental load off of me, you could have those reminders there while I mess with all the other bad guys and characters. So here we have possible actions to take. So I picked a cleric because they do have their primary spellcasters. I did War Domain cleric, so I could throw some martial in there so I could show the best of both for the table here. So if I'm doing a melee attack, I have my mace here, I'd roll a d20, add 10. I would say this is what I roll to hit. If it exceeds the enemy's armor class, you then get to roll the damage. And then you have some different notes here where you could click on to show what things do. Where is it? It doesn't. Oopsies. Maybe we'll find it somewhere else. It's also easy to Google. Interesting. So, but yeah, if you want different information on what the weapons are, it's there. Properties sap. Okay. If I wanted to cast a spell, especially a offensive spell, I would say I'm trying to hit somebody. I roll a d20. I would add 8 to it, and then if I surpass the armor class, roll the damage. Very similar. The only difference between a lot of those is the range, and so most melee weapons have a range of 5 feet. Spells have anything in here. If you have a ranged weapon like a bow or throwing a dagger, so we have a dagger here. You see the range here is 2060. Okay, so we have the dagger here. You see the range is 2060. That means anything within 20 feet, you could hit regular. No, there's nothing wrong. You just roll the d20 as normal. Anything between 20 and 60 feet, you would roll with disadvantage because it's slightly out of range. Anything beyond 60 feet, it's very out of range. And again, at the table, I'll go through everything that, questions come up. You don't have to have all of this information memorized. It's just some pointers for ahead of time to get you comfortable with this. As we go down the actions, we have different features that we get, which could also be seen in the features and traits table. So you could track your daily things. So for a Dragonborn, I get Breath Weapon, which I get a certain amount of times per long rest. And so as I use it, I would mark it down. If we were taking a long rest, I would click this and it'd clear out. Same thing for here. A lot of it's information about the different features you have, and I'll go into individual videos for you guys explaining what a lot of this stuff is, and sort of share some tidbits on strategies and things you could use. Bonus actions is something. So when you're taking a turn in combat for D&D, you have your movement, right, the 30 feet. You have your action, which is everything up here, and then you have your bonus action. A bonus action is usually something that's quicker, isn't as powerful as what an action could be, or it's just activating something. And so here you can see where your bonus actions are. Again, you get your full movement, you get your action, and a bonus action per turn. Sometimes a DM will say it's like, oh, you get an object interaction. If you just want to like pick up something off the ground really quick that doesn't cost anything. Let's see. Reactions is something that happens not on your turn. So, for example, if there's like a wizard about to cast a very terrible spell, a druid, for instance, if they had it ready, or a bard could say, I counterspell it on a reaction. Even though it's the wizard's turn, there's certain things you could take to be able to be like, nope, not happening. Like I said, interact with an object. Different things here. We have our spell table for our spellcasters. Here, if you want to manage your spells, you have it here. If you want to trade them out, prepare it. For most spellcasters, what you start the day with, it's set, and it's not until a long rest where you can shake things out. So when we start playing, your spell list will be locked in. But until then, you can mess around, read them. So if I wanted to know more about guidance, I could click here, and it tells me exactly what it is. For a lot of the stuff here, they did a really good job with just saying what it does. There's not a whole lot of interpreting that needs to be needed. There's language probably that needs to be translated, but it says exactly what it means. But you can be creative with it. I always give points for creativity. But you have your cantrips here, which you could cast indiscriminately, and it doesn't cost anything except the action or bonus action it takes to cast it. For the leveled spells, you have slots that could fill up. So as I'm going through the day, if I'm casting Bless to bolster, inflict wounds to damage, if I want to like level up a spell, I could say for Bless, for example, if I wanted to upcast it, I could go to Bless here, and then I could get more people in the Bless and hit that. Or if I want to upcast Guiding Bolt, I could increase the amount of damage by a lot if I wanted to do that. We have our inventory here. This one's more for the martial people, so to make sure you have the weapons you want. This is something that's beforehand. I don't have a rule necessarily about like changing weapons out. It's just if you start your action with a weapon, that's what it is. So you can't, like for multi-attackers, you can't have like 2 swords in hand and then like hit and then like take a pistol out. You have to finish the action with the weapons that you have in hand, and then in between that and your next turn you could exchange what you want out. But you could have them all clicked on, and it'll show up here what you have equipped. Here's the features and traits. It's a lot of what's in the actions, and a lot of the passive things that you have, which I'll also go over, just explaining like things you could do. And so if it's like during combat, and it carries over. If you're like during combat, it's like trying to think of what you want to do next, you could peruse through here, see what's available. But a lot of this is like showing your what you chose for abilities and stuff for your leveling up. That background, this stuff is just fun things. So if you wanted to have some traits or ideals or bonds, like how some of you are going to be connected with other people, you definitely can type that up just to remind you as you're playing. As we play from like in between the times we play, you could come back, read through your character, take some notes on what's been going on. You could go through that to simplify it. Managing extras. It's just, I wouldn't worry too much about this. This is just some other like crunchy stuff. Not totally necessary, but for these two, also could be fun, good for taking notes if you're like, oh, that sounds fishy, maybe that'll come up later. Chekhov's gun. It's like if something's mentioned, good chance it'll come up later, not always, but it'll feel good to have your notes get you out of the tight spot. Other than that, I think that's my overview video for this. Again, when we're playing, I'll be able to help and guide. We have a couple people that have played before that could help at the table. So if there's any questions, I got you. This is just to sort of just help you out in that aspect, to get the ball rolling beforehand, so we're not doing too much of this at the table. So I'm going to now go into individual videos. Yeah.